All right, buckle up, because today we're diving into some seriously strange stuff. We've got firsthand accounts, chat logs, even some local news reports,
Oh, wow.
all centered around a group of friends in a Russian seaside town.
Interesting.
And let me tell you,
Okay.
things get wild.
I bet.
Yeah.
Well, what I find fascinating right off the bat is that this isn't just like ghost stories or rumors, you
Yeah.
know? We've got real evidence, documented stuff that points to some seriously bizarre events.
Exactly. So picture this, okay? We've got this group of friends, Dasha, they call her Kitana, Masha, Roma, who they call Romashka. And then there's Vova, Dima, Christina, Pasha, Sasha, Stas, Dasha N, and Zakhar. And they're all living in this seemingly average, chill resort town.
Yeah.
But something's off, you know what I mean?
They're getting that vibe.
Definitely.
And these friends aren't just sitting around watching weird stuff happen.
Yeah.
The chat logs show them actively messing with the unexplained, even trying to, like, summon supernatural entities.
Okay, let's break that down. So we know they tried summoning, get this, a deity named Cernunnos, then a mermaid, and even, like, the infamous Queen of Spades. Now, I don't know how familiar you are with the Queen of Spades, but
yeah, I know a little.
she's huge in Russian folklore, associated with, like, bad luck,
Oh, yeah.
even death.
It's like, be careful what you wish for kind of thing.
Yeah, it's like a darker, more dangerous genie in a bottle situation, Grants your wishes, but at a serious cost.
Oh, I like that. That's a great analogy. And, mermaids, they seem all pretty and romantic, but they've got this whole dark side in folklore, too. They're connected to the sea, right?
Yeah.
Which is powerful and unpredictable. They tempt sailors, lure them to their doom.
Yeah, so not exactly the friendliest of supernatural beings, right?
Right.
And then you've got Cernunnos. He's a Celtic deity all about nature, the wild, untamed side of it, like forests, animals, seasons changing.
Yeah.
It's wild to see them trying to, like, connect with such different figures from all these different backgrounds.
Yeah. It really is.
Yeah.
And what gets me is how casual they are about it all. The chat logs, there's a lot of joking around, especially from Romashka and Vova. Seems like they're more curious than anything like, let's see what happens.
Right, that whole let's see what happens attitude, not really grasping, the potential consequences of messing with forces they don't get. It reminds me of that time I tried making fireworks at home based on a YouTube video. Thankfully, no disaster, but there was that moment where I was like, uh-oh, I think I'm in over my head.
Oh, I bet. And that's where things get really interesting. Because what starts as harmless fun takes this dark turn when a bunch of strange events starts happening around town.
You're telling me?
Seemingly connected to their little summoning experiments.
Yeah, we're talking like vines overgrowing in Kitana's apartment overnight. Then there's this near-death experience in a bathtub that fills with ice.
Whoa.
Unexplained power outages all over town, flocks of dogs acting super weird, a bird attacking a window nonstop.
Oh my gosh.
And then, like, a mini earthquake followed by an explosion, 80 fire at the local supermarket.
No way.
Oh, yeah.
That's insane.
Just a normal week in the seaside town, right?
Right. It's like a jumbled mess of crazy incidents. But the fact that it all happens right after they try these summonings, that's what makes you wonder.
Exactly. Could it all just be random? Or is something more, sinister going on?
Right.
That's what we're here to figure out.
Exists.
And lucky for us, we've got you, the expert, to help us connect the dots.
Happy to help.
So, shall we start with the specifics? What do you say?
Absolutely.
All right, let's dive into these events, starting with Kitana's experience in the bathtub. That's one of the most detailed and creepy accounts we have.
Oh, yeah, definitely. The way she describes the water suddenly freezing around her, trapping her under the ice.
It's terrifying.
It is.
Imagine that feeling, trapped, panicking, scrambling to find a way out.
That image she describes, a solid ice block, the frost on the walls, her body getting colder and colder.
Yeah.
It really paints a picture of how scared she must have been.
And it's not just the physical danger, right? Later on, she talks about this lingering feeling of vulnerability, like the world itself had turned against her.
Yeah, that's important. It's like these events, they're not just hurting them physically, but messing with their minds too, shaking their sense of reality.
Exactly. And that brings us to the big question, right? Is there a connection between this and the summonings? Could Cernunnos, the nature deity, be responsible for this sudden freeze?
It's definitely something to think about. Cernunnos is all about the raw power of nature creation and destruction. And while he's often seen as a good force, there are some darker sides to him too. Like he's tied to the wild hunt, this ghostly procession that brings bad luck, even death.
Whoa.
Yeah,
So it's not crazy to imagine him being connected to something as destructive and chaotic as, like, a sudden freeze?
exactly.
It's like he's showing off his power, giving them a little taste of what he can do.
Right, like a warning.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a good reminder that nature's beautiful, but it can be dangerous too. We can't control it.
And it makes you wonder, right? If it was Cernunnos, was he doing it on purpose? Was he targeting Kitana specifically? Or was it just like a show of force, a warning shot?
That's hard to say. But, unintended consequences, that's a big theme in folklore and mythology. These entities, they're not like ordering a pizza. You don't always get exactly what you ordered.
Right, it's like they're playing with fire and not realizing how fast things can spiral.
Yeah.
But before we get too deep into Cernunnos' potential role, let's see what happened with those other groups, the ones trying to summon the mermaid and the Queen of Spades.
Good idea.
Okay, so rewind a bit. Let's follow the group that went for the mermaid. Their story takes place that same night, but with a totally different vibe.
Interesting.
And that difference, that vibe, I think it's crucial to understanding what might have gone down.
So while Kitana's dealing with that whole bathtub nightmare, the mermaid group is out on this secluded beach, right? This little spit of land jutting out into the sea.
It's interesting how they picked that spot, almost like they knew on some level that mermaids are all about water, like they were trying to set the mood or something.
Right. And it wasn't just the location. Dima, he seems to be the one who found the summoning instructions, and they're this mix of local folklore and his own, interpretation.
Yeah.
Lots of focus on beauty and all that. Offerings, they were supposed to bring shiny things, sing in harmony. Even this idea that mermaids can help you find a husband. It's a very, romanticized view of mermaids, not the scary, sinister ones we usually hear about.
So are you saying, like, the way you approach a summoning, the energy you bring, that can actually change the outcome?
It's a possibility, yeah. And it comes up a lot in folklore, mythology. Intent matters.
Yeah.
Respect matters. You're not dealing with just some force you can control. These are beings with their own, motivations, complexities.
It's a good reminder for anyone thinking about messing with the supernatural. Like you said before, it's not like ordering a pizza.
Right.
You're stepping into a whole different world with its own rules and consequences, and maybe those consequences aren't what you expected.
For sure. But back to the mermaid thing. What actually happened? Did they make contact?
Yeah, did they see a mermaid?
Well, the accounts are kind of vague. Masha, she was the one doing the ritual. She talks about feeling this weird peace, like time stopped or something. But did she actually see a mermaid? Talk to one? It's unclear. Almost like she went into a trance, lost track of reality.
That's spooky. It's giving me those, Blair Witch vibes,
Yeah.
where you're never quite sure what's real and what's in their heads. That uncertainty can be scarier than any monster jumping out at you.
Oh, absolutely. And here's the thing. Masha's the only one who gives an account. The others, including Dima, they were kind of busy.
Ah, yes. Dima and his liquid courage, right? I have a feeling that might have played a role in what went down.
You got it. Looks like while Masha was communing with the sea, the rest were, shall we say, enjoying Dima's rather extensive beer supply.
Classic Dima.
Classic Dima, right? And that overindulgence, well, it might have had some side effects. Clouded their judgment, maybe even made them more susceptible to whatever energies were swirling around that night.
It's like that saying, in vino veritas, right? In wine, there is truth. But in this case, the truth might have been a little too much to handle.
Yeah, and it makes you think, what if they had been sober, focused? Would things have gone differently? We'll never know.
So many what ifs.
Right. But it shows how important it is to approach these things with a clear mind and a healthy dose of respect.
Okay, so we've got one group maybe connecting with a powerful nature deity, another having this hazy, dreamlike mermaid encounter. And then there's the third group. They went for the classic, the Queen of Spades.
Yeah, they did. And their story takes us back to a more, shall we say, traditional setting. An apartment, lit by candles, using a mirror as a portal.
Oh, yeah, they went all out with the ambiance, right. Circle of salt, incantations, the whole 9 yards. And they had Zakar leading the ritual. He seems to know a thing or two about magic.
He does. And unlike the other groups, with all their joking and, casualness, this group was serious. They knew it could be dangerous. Dasha N, especially, she was nervous, like she had a bad feeling about it all.
That feeling you get sometimes, like a gut instinct telling you something's wrong. It's often ignored in movies, but in real life, those feelings, they can be warning signs.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And as they went through the ritual, that feeling, it got stronger, The room felt charged, heavy, candles flickering, anticipation hanging over them like a shroud.
Okay, I'm already creeped out just listening to this. So they're all gathered around the mirror, chanting, "A weep, Queen of Spades, appear."
Right.
What happens next?
At first, nothing. Silence. Everyone staring into the mirror waiting. But then
Wow.
the lights go out. Not just in the apartment, but the whole neighborhood, it seems.
Whoa.
Total darkness.
Talk about